I don't recall.
Okay, the time is 6:38. I'll call this work session of the mayor and council to order. We'll go over the regular agenda first. Indication we may have someone here from Snellville Community Church waiting for tonight. You all received a copy of the announcements. Ceremonial matters will have two things. It's National Caribbean American Heritage Month in the month of June, so we'll be recognizing that. And we'll be recognizing Matt Brannon on his retirement as the county chief of Gwinnett County. You all received a copy of the minutes from the last special called meeting, work session, and then the regular council meetings. Anyone have any questions, objections, or changes? We have no invited guests. Mr. Kirkland should be here tonight to do a URA report. Has anyone heard anything different?
I think he will be here. I think he'll probably go over their planning session.
Okay. We have no consent agenda. We have several items under old business public hearing. The first have our fiscal year 2015 budget. Mr. Sanders.
I have put copies of everything for you and bound those. It's obviously something that we've talked about for a while, gone over, made a few changes. And I'll have a short presentation. I can have a little bit of time tonight. It is a balanced budget of $10,364,300, and has most of the features that we had talked about in our meetings and in the public hearing, the budget hearing. If you have any questions, just let me know.
So there's been a few changes made. What changes have been made?
We have added to the Arts Commission a $10,000 number. We adjusted the salary line item to a 3% merit increase. We had an adjustment in the excise tax number. It was reduced a little bit. That will go into effect July 1. I think that Matt has helped Melissa and Karen on that. We'll get all the forms out to the proper entities. But other than that, it pretty much stays the same.
On the $10,000 to the Arts Commission, I asked the deputy adding to the budget. We're going to add an amendment, ask for we amend that tonight to the point that what we're going to do is we're going to match the fundraising that the Arts Commission does dollar for dollar up to a total of $10,000 for this fiscal year.
You still have to budget for an actual amount, so are you asking if that amount be $2,000 we budget for? Or
Well, it's in the budget. And just how we're going to disperse that is the fact that we're going to match their fundraising dollar for dollar. Up to the amount of $10,000, we put $10,000.
You said pretty much it stayed the same. Is it the same, or are there other changes?
Those are the changes.
The tax digest comes out on June 20th. Usually we have a special called meeting after the tax digest to approve the final budget. So is there a reason we're approving it before we get the tax digest numbers?
Usually, the budget has to be approved before the end of the fiscal year. The special call meeting is usually on millage rate, which you need a tax digest for.
Right, but we don't have any specifics as far as what the appraisal values are going to be until the tax digest comes out. Right?
What we have, you're right. What we have is an estimate.
So right now, in the budget, without the tax digest, we're guessing on both how much collection we're going to have and what the appraisal values are going to be.
Correct, just like we do every year.
We do
And
that
then we wait until after the tax digest comes out, we will know the appraisal values. We'll only be guessing on the collection.
It is a budget, so we're only guessing anyway.
If we wait until the tax digest comes out, we'll only be guessing on one figure instead of two figures, right?
And we're actually guessing on every figure that's in this budget.
If, Mr. Sanders, if we wait until the tax digest comes out, we will know what the appraisal values are, right?
We will know exactly what our total digest is, that's correct. last year, if you look here, we projected 649, 133, actually 647, 130. Obviously, we hope for a better digest this year. I mean, we know that fair market values and assessments have gone up, but we know that we don't know exactly how much, and we know that some have fallen again. So it is I mean, I'm looking at 2 to 3%, and hoping for that.
Have we not historically passed the budget before we have the digest in here?
Every year, I mean, I've only been here 1 year. Yes, last year, yes, we did. We have one meeting in June, and that's always been that's what I sent out in the budget calendar.
No reason to do it any different this year.
When does the digest come out?
June 20th.
We won't have another
Have you,
meeting.
did you get that exactly from Ms. Hood?
We won't have another meeting in June anyway.
Item B, consideration action on ordinance amendment relating to distant requirements from housing and worship and schools for alcohol sales. Mr. Howard, anything you need to tell us? Anybody have any questions? C, consideration action on ordinance amendment relating to solid waste to include provision for the disposal of animal waste. Councilman Emanuel?
No changes from last time. I think we should just approve it. Pretty simple, pretty straightforward.
D is CUP 1401. Mr. Thompson?
Basically, Ms. Hales is asking for a continuation of the residential use of her property, which is currently zoned office professional at 2108 East Main Street. It's adjacent to the new State Farm Real Estate Agency, Brad Bachelor's spot over on Abington in US 78. She's fallen upon hard times as she had bought it to develop it as commercial. She's now been forced to move there. She originally asked for 6 years extension. The Planning Commission recommended 3 with a 1-year written extension to the Planning Director. That's what was forwarded to Mayor and Council. The Planning Department recommends approval on that.
Anyone have any questions for Mr. Thompson?
I do have a question. Is there a cost to her coming to renew these CUPs?
It cost her the typical conditional use permit application, which is somewhere with signage, and so typically between $400 and $500 every. She gets 4 years to.
And what did she get the first time? 3 years?
She got 3 years plus a year.
Okay.
And this
She's
one's
Do we have any,
Well, the Planning Commission recommended 3 years plus an additional year.
same as last time.
Yes, sir.
is there any, anything tied to that she's gonna have to remain as long as she uses that? And I understand her position, if she has, as long as she has to live there, I can see that. But what we don't want her to do is like, move out and rent it.
Well, she can, as long as she's the property owner, before she was renting the property, it's a residential use, that's the key component. As long as she owns it and it's utilized in a residential manner, and that does include home businesses and anything that would be allowed in any other neighborhood or any other residential use, as long as she conforms to the ordinances as they're written for any other residential property, then she's okay. Now, once she sells the property to any other owner, the conditional use permit is null and void. They would have to come back, and then the zoning would revert back to its commercial basis.
Thank you.
But typically, the person living in the house can operate a home-based business.
Yeah, as long as they're living in the house.
As long as they're living in the house.
Yes,
So
sir.
as long as it's a residence of somebody.
Correct.
We then have, lost my place, CUP 1403. This is the application for the Art Commission to do the mural.
Correct. This is for the mural along West Main Street, the low wall above New London Plaza. We've received a GDOT permit, received approval from the Planning Commission. There is I think probably most of y'all have been at the Arts Commission meetings where you saw Sheila Price's rendering. There is a change because of some coordination, good coordination between the signage committee and the Arts Commission and Sheila. Sheila said she would have no problem not making it a welcome sign, because the wayfinding signage group is addressing that and wants to be consistent in their design. She's come up in her private work with a lot of conflicts. It's going to be the end of summer before she can get to it anyway. So basically, she is saying she wants to use the same granite motif, just not a welcome sign. And of course, any design has to come back through the mayor and council for approval.
So we're just approving to allow a mural to be, what, so we're not really approving?
Approving the conditional use.
Why wouldn't we just wait, why wouldn't we just table it till we had the design to approve?
The planning, is there a need to take immediate action?
There's not, honestly, unless you have the final design in place. Basically,
She'll bring the final design after some change.
I mean, it doesn't cost her anything to bring it back up, right? She don't, I mean,
And the DOT material's not time sensitive.
No.
Fine
with me.
We just move the table that then until, postpone it until we have.
We'll work with her in the commission.
all right, and it brings us to F, rezoning 1401 and LEP 1401. This is the Denny's application, Mr. Thompson.
1 second. Correct, this is for LUP 1401, RZ 1401 at 2160 Scenic Highway. This is the intersection of North Wisteria and Scenic Highway. The zoning is going from my neighborhood business to BG general business with a land use amendment from office professionals to retail. It's the old Duron paint store, is currently 1.22 acre property with approximately 6,000 square foot existing buildings. Typical office professional uses of the property. The application is to keep the existing building, remodel it for a Denny's restaurant, add some parking spaces. They've also requested some variances to make the parking lot work, a few of them to reduce the size of a few of the spaces from 19 feet to 18 feet, reduce a few of the sizes of the parking lot islands, reduce some of the size of the landscape strips, which is just a technicality due to the way the boundary line is shown, and I'll show that further once I'm able to put it up on the projector. They also were asking to be exempt from constructing a sidewalk on North Road. Originally, we had supported that variance, but during the planning commission hearing, the applicant seemed okay with putting that sidewalk in, so that's fine. We don't have a problem with them adding it in. Mr. Warner suggested that it be added, and Mr. Thompson had no problem putting it in, so if you guys want to add that into the conditions, that would be fine.
That's not currently in the conditions as the planning commission sent it though.
No, they actually sent it forward without that, but once he gave the okay, I don't see any reason why not to put it in there. Honestly, we just didn't want to drive in the way, and like I said, the sidewalk project's going up the other side of the road, but it's just a 50 feet stretch maybe. The grade's not bad, so it's not going to cost me much to throw it in, and he seemed more than willing to do it, so I say let him do it. There's also some conflicts with the corridor overlay lighting and the current town center lighting, and then the old town center lighting, so we wanted a little bit of flexibility to put in the lighting that's in the new town center to match what we already have, and you know, that Wisteria building is the only
That was gonna be my question, is the lighting is we're moving more toward the town green.
Yeah, we've only got one project in the whole city that has that lighting where the Nanston building is. So we've got, and those lights aren't even manufactured anymore. So we need to move away from those, give us some flexibility during design, where to place them and how to do it. And then they've used some smaller signs, so they've asked for some smaller setbacks away from the right-of-ways, and we were okay with most of that. I will let the applicant speak to a few of those. Just a few site specifics: 142 seats, 6 to 8 full-time employees, 58 parking spaces, 3 smaller monument signs, and that's pretty much the nuts and bolts of it. All the same curb cuts will remain, no new curb cuts. The building will remain the same, and I'll show you some of the architectural features.
They're moving the entrance around to the side based on the.
Correct, it'll be on the Wisteria side.
Right.
What about the rear wall facing North Road?
Apparently, the applicant said for right now, they're gonna place a landscaping area there. I believe they're gonna use that more as their service entrance. There was another planning commission member that suggested maybe put some photo windows in or something like that.
Something, yeah, because that's
It's not a bad idea. If you want to condition it that way, we can work with them through the architectural
It's kind of
design
ugly the way
process.
it is.
I agree. And we could get them to do something minimal or whatever you want to do, and we can kind of at least dress it up a little bit. Because I looked at it after the meeting, and it's a long, break it up a little bit. So basically, we've recommended approval for the variances they've requested, and you guys can amend those as you see fit. The applicant won't be here for any other questions, but that's pretty much it.
Any other questions? Okay. And then G, 1402, Jason.
That's the last one. I believe that's the one on 124, and that's just a first reading, so we would ask that you place that on the July 14th, second reading and public hearing calendar. RZ 1402, correct?
Yes.
That'll be your next public hearing date.
Didn't they postpone that?
They did because the church and the applicant had some issues they're trying to work out. I think we've got them settled on like a 20-foot landscape strip. They reduced their building a little bit. I think everybody's good to go now. We're gonna get a final plan in, and I think we've got it worked out.
And that then brings us to new business, consideration action on recommendations from boards, commissions, authorities for reappointments of members whose terms of office expire on June 30th. I don't plan on making any nominations for any boards tonight.
We understand that. What we're doing though is we're going to make sure this gets into the minutes and accept them as the appointments and reappointments as suggested by each one board member.
But
as
the
we've asked
mayor has
for.
to nominate all board positions, and what authority are you reappointing these board
Not
members?
reappointing anyone now.
I'm not making any nominations for any appointments
And
tonight.
that's not asking to. We're accepting, all we're going to do tonight, we're accepting that these appointments have been made by these boards.
The board does not have the authority to make any appointments.
We're aware of that too.
Okay, so then their terms are gonna expire on June 30th.
That's
There's no
correct.
reappointment.
That's right.
Yeah, that is correct. Okay. I do not plan on making any appointments under item B either.
But they will continue to serve until they're replaced.
That's right. And again, as you know, we passed a resolution on how we want, how the council would like to go forward on these nominations and acceptances. And all we're doing is going along with that. We understand that you are the person who makes the appointments.
And this is.
And you also understand that you need the confirmation of the council. We've made it very clear that we're going to confirm the people who have been vetted by these boards rather than making a political
You
ploy.
can't confirm something if there is no nomination.
That's
You
exactly
confirm
right.
the nomination, so the agenda says the mayor nomination and council confirmation. I'm making no nomination tonight for you to confirm.
Go and ask me.
No,
That's what the agenda reads.
no, it
No,
reads
it says
consideration and action on recommendations.
All we're going to do is have them enter
Mayor's
into.
nomination and council's confirmation.
No, there's no mayor in there.
There's no mayor in
Look
there.
at item number B, mayor's nomination and council's confirmation.
Well, that should not be there. 4 mayors for nomination and council confirmation. You're not going to
I'm not
nominate, that's
making any
fine, but we're going to put them in the record. We just want to, all we want to do is in the minutes, show that these are the people that have been vetted by these particular commissions and boards, and they're on the record, so we have, that's all.
So here. C, consideration action on election of parliamentarian, Councilman Manuel.
Dennis Conway, I've spoken with him, and I'm going to put him up for parliamentarian.
Do you have a fee for that?
$250 per meeting.
Is that something that needs to be added to the budget?
I don't know.
It's in the budget.
It's
I think it's
I
already
think it's in there, but
We have a contingency line item. And we have,
it's in the budget.
okay,
they're parliamentary and they're governing body.
Yeah, governing bodies, yeah.
There it is.
So what's in the budget?
$5,400.
That is the end of our regular meeting. Under tonight's work session, do we have any reports?
The only thing I asked for is the executive session on litigation.
Oak Road Classic Park update.
Had a chance to meet with Bobby from HDR and Danny Benjamin from the rec and go over what is a possible next conservative step, maintaining the passive park concept at Oak Road, tying it into the development of the sidewalk. We received this back from HDR, which is very conservative, passive, non-intrusive. It includes the labyrinth idea that the Arts Commission was interested in. They're interested in having it out there at Oak Road since it's a very passive activity. Robbie put that in. He went out there, did some rudimentary surveying to tie in the path a little bit better. There are a couple of wet areas, so he suggested a couple of boardwalks, which add some interest to the natural path out there. A little bit of interpretive signage and a shelter, whether that's a picnic shelter or a pergola, arbor, I don't know. But something that of interest that would be used by the pedestrians that will use the new sidewalk. So this is an early rendering, but I wanted to engage the landscape architect and bring something back for your review.
Is, I think the last meeting, maybe the meeting before that, we discussed the front has been graded, I guess, or clear cut, but the greenery is starting to grow back, and we talked about
It's
how.
been sprayed.
Has, okay.
Has been sprayed. And we reminded Mr. Casey, he has a year's responsibility out there. And he actually, at least I think he's been back with some equipment and done some more cutting to make sure that he keeps it down.
So it'll be more of a regular schedule.
Correct.
And do we have a cost estimate for?
We don't. Robbie's working on that. He said, get back to me. Let me have some input from the mayor and council. And it's really, I'm just hoping you agree with the degree of development. I mean, we're talking about maintaining a passive park, and I need to kind of know, is this about what you're looking for? Not a parking area? I mean, there's parking for maintenance?
Yeah, I think that when we bought it, when we purchased it, there was some regulation of parking there. We couldn't have parking there. It's supposed to be
No, that was,
passive.
I don't think there's a regulation. It was just when the master planning was done
There was
and
no
the input that was made
Okay.
was
There's
that they
actually a
did not
condition
want.
under the, purchased it using grant money, and there's a condition in that grant, it's limited to, I think, 6 or 7 parking spaces, but there is a limit on number of parking spaces that can be there, because it was a conservation grant.
So I think this is fine. We think this is the next step for us to get pricing on it and see where we stand.
Okay.
And I like the idea of having a labyrinth there. I didn't know what that was until Judy, gave the presentation, and I think it's a phenomenal idea.
And the design and everything will begin. I'll bring you a engineering design contract for the sidewalk as soon as, once again, we're still waiting on the IGA from the county.
Can we put this on the next work session with some cost estimates?
Sure.
Any other questions? Town green non-governmental use policy. This also was on a previous work session. I think we gave staff some notes.
Mayor, there just has not been time to do that. There are 5 or 6 notes, they're easily added. I will get it to you, and maybe I can get some type of verbal response, but just give me a little bit of time.
If we could put it on the next work session then, and if you could email us that
Okay,
before.
I'll get it to you ahead of time, because I know it's the July, or I guess it's been moved to August.
August that we're looking
First
at.
weekend in
And
August.
a local church also has contacted us about using it for movie night as well, so we need to get something in place. Georgia's new gun legislation, Councilman Emmanuel.
Well,
floor is yours.
this is a discussion, it's a policy decision of the mayor and council, that we have had this law thrust upon us. And you have some options. And one option is to do nothing.